Hello, this is Chris Anichim. My today's video is about 11 mistakes parents make during care proceedings and how to avoid them. I'm a specialist accredited panel solicitor and a resolution specialist accredited in private and public law. I represent parents when the local authority becomes involved with their family and looking to remove the children, or in some situation they remove the children. So the 11 mistakes parents make during care proceedings and how you can avoid them. When the local authority starts proceedings looking to remove a child or children from the care of their parents, it is usually a momentous decision for the parents or for the family, following a decision being made to interfere in a private family life by the local authority. It is certainly not a decision that is taken lightly by the local authority. As a result, there would have been series of meetings before the decision is made, or it may just have been an emergency situation where the local authority would then have to interfere. The local authority can only interfere in private family life if this child is suffering and likely to suffer significant harm as a result of the care being given to this child by the parents or the caregiver. This video will explain where the parents make mistakes after the involvement of the social services in their family and how they should instead deal with the situation in a much more better way to avoid the pitfall of having their children removed. First mistake, not knowing who makes the decision in care proceedings. When the matter is in court, oftentimes the parents fail to understand that the person who makes the decision is the judge and not the social worker. Even in situations where these children can even express their wishes and feelings of where they would like to live, most of the time with their parents, it is still the judge who makes this decision. That is the welfare decision as to what is in the child's best interest, or whether the child will go back home to their parents. 2, parents should be child-focused. For parents to have a chance of having their children return to their care, they need to be more child-focused. Parents need to understand that the case before the court is not about the parents. Instead, it is what is in the best interest of the children, now and in the future. They need to be child-centered and child-focused, working with the professionals who are there to support the family to get the best outcome for the children. And how they should do this is by thinking more about what is good for their children, not about themselves or their pride. 3, lacking insight into the concerns raised by professionals. My long experience working in this area of law, I found out that one of the main reasons children never get to return back to the parents is that many parents suffer from the lack of insight to the main concerns raised by the professionals. Lacking insight means lacking understanding of the child protection or safeguarding issues raised by the professionals. It is important that parents should be teachable and open to learning new skills instead of thinking that the social worker does not like them or they are racist or wicked. These are some of the comments I've heard from parents when I represent them. Number 4, parents have no support network. There are cases when what tips the balance of whether a child will come back home to their parents or not is if the parents or the caregiver has a support network. This is when there are no family members or even friends who could provide the support if needed to ensure that the child returning home is safe at home. 5. Not open and honest. This is very critical for most care cases when the parents is not open and honest. It is difficult for professionals to work with those parents. Also, the fact that the parents is not open and honest increases the risk level because the court is likely to rule that parents cannot be trusted to do what is right. For instance, in cases of domestic violence, when the parents have been assessed as being able to meet this child or children's care needs, if that parent is not in a relationship with a violent partner whose presence may have caused some significant harm to this child. These parents may have indicated, for example, that he is no longer in a relationship with this violent partner. And if after this assessment, just before the children are returned to the care, or even when these children are returned back into the care, and it's then discovered that this parent is still in a relationship with that violent partner, this could make the care plan change, with the child or children not returning to the parents, or even when they return, they can be removed finally. The child or children may now go to a kinship carer or long-term fostering or even adoption. 6. Not focusing on their capacity as parents. For many parents, the moment the local authority commences proceedings, they immediately lose their self-confidence or belief as a parent who have that capacity to care for their children. They fall into a panic mode where they start to behave in a way that further complicates their situation and the situation of their children. Of course, it is acknowledged that care proceedings put the parents or family in the spotlight. When this happens, it is pertinent that the parent should stay calm, focus on their good aspect of their parenting. They should not be afraid to ask for assistance or ask questions when they struggle with their own parenting. It is important to state that would not expose them as being incapable. Rather, it demonstrates that these parents' willingness to work with professionals and willingness to take in constructive advice. 7. Seeing professionals as enemies. Parents should not see professionals as their enemies. Professionals are there to support you and not to be your enemy. Many parents, instead of working with a social worker or other professionals, they instead see them as their enemies. Many clients I've worked with see the social workers as evil, and all they are there to do is to take away their children. I keep on advising the parents that no, that's the wrong way to say it. So it's pertinent that they stop the notion of seeing professionals as evil, because when they do this, their reaction gives them away that their suspicion and disdain towards professionals impacts on them being able to have their children or augur well for a working relationship and having their children return back to their care in the future. 8. Losing sight of the goal. Many parents quickly lose sight of the goal. In this case, the goal is to have their children return to their care. Instead, they start to wage war against social services, the professionals, teachers, or whoever who they believe or who did not agree with their position. It's important that they should be focused on having the children return back to their care and doing what is right. 9, lack of engagement. Some parents who are not able to engage with the professionals are always likely to lose their children. Professionals are there to provide support to the family. Some parents are so full of themselves that they only see what is best for their children through their own eyes. In some situations, many parents get it wrong and therefore jeopardize the safe return of their children. It is essential that parents understand that it is not about them, but what is in the best interest of the children. 10. Domestic abuse. Many parents do not understand the impact that domestic abuse play in getting their children removed from their care. If they cannot demonstrate in the long run that they can extricate themselves from a violent partner or stop abusing the other partner. Children who experience domestic violence or domestic abuse, even if they are not the victims, suffer from harm years after the event. They suffer from emotional harm. 11. Sustained change. Some parents have made so much progress in their parenting, but for unpredictable or unexplainable reason have found it quite difficult to sustain the change they have made earlier. Some of the reasons could be down to the parents not being focused on the objective they are seeking. Instead, they will revert to the previous concerns that led to the local authority removing their children in the first place. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you learned from the 11 important information you need to keep. You need to know the mistakes that parents make and how you could avoid them in future. Thank you very much.